Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Module 4. Are you ready for Part 4 or Module 4? So, plan ahead, monitor, and evaluate. So, keys to success is also planning ahead and keeping on track with what you're doing. Great Module 3. We enjoyed looking at all the aspects. We are looking forward to grading all of your work, and we loved all the questions. So, let's dive in. Module 4 is all about monitoring and evaluating your challenge. So as you walk into this, I'm going to scroll down. This wonderful video is going to be right here. I changed it to Dr. J. and Clausen's thoughts. Whoop, whoop. So we're going to talk about this. So first I want to point out our readings and highlight this area because there are quite a few readings. Make sure, please, please, please make sure that you are reading and you fill out that pre-work section. Very important. It's an easy 5 points. If you don't do it well, we're going to take part of those 5 points. So keep that in mind. So as we dive in, let's dive a little bit more. Here we go. Next page. So this week, your assignment is all about monitoring and evaluating. So you are creating an impact and evaluation plan for your challenge. So as you jump into this, here is your template. Here is your activity rubric, but we're going to open it and kind of talk through it so that way you can see it. But you can read this. Also, if you scroll down, this is your rubric, but let's jump in. So if we go into our page right here, so this is our template. When you click on it, you have to say use template. But as you go in, there are really 4 core pieces to this. First, you got to do your pre-work. So you've got to do your whole module reading. You also need to work on making sure you set up your team meeting. And then there are, 3 pieces to this outside of that one. You have your goals, you have impact, and then you have your evaluation strategy, which is really important. And then again, follow up and meet with your team just to make sure that everybody's in agreement with what you're doing. So as we look at this, let's take a look at, you guys have asked for it, so we're throwing a few in there. They are your examples. So there are 3 examples. The first one is the College Scouter program. And all of these are kind of set up the same way that we just talked about. So it's goals, then impact, and then your evaluation of your impact. And again, so that's College Scouter. Mindfulness is another program. These are all done by former students. So you want to keep in mind and look at these. Each one is tailored to their program. So again, goals, impact, evaluation of the impact. And the last one is the Sparks program. Again, what are your goals? What is the impact and then the evaluation of the impact? So first, let's start off with your goals. And Patrick, jump in here with me. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, folks, think about your goals. Your goals are very important and write them out. What do you want the end state to be? They don't know this. Now I want them to know this. And don't think so much about how we're going to get there right now. Think about at the end of this, how will I know that they know? How will I see what change I want to occur? How will I see that the goal has been achieved? That's your evaluation. And write your evaluation and then go back and say, all right, what steps do I need in order to achieve these goals? In marketing, we call these leads and lags, same thing in project development. But in teaching, we call this backwards design. In all of education, you're going to hear this over and over again. Begin with the end in mind. It's also a Stephen Covey thing, but I don't know if we can even say that. I'm going to move on.
So think about this. So as Patrick was just saying, what are your goals? And I like the way that in this one for Sparks, they have actual numbers, present to and impact at least 200 students. Train someone in Sparks to lead this project in the future. Look at, research, unique topics to properly inform students. So what are your goals? And then as you set those goals, think big. I know for the coding project that we're working with, I want to touch at least 300 kids. I want 300 kids to be impacted by this. I want, let's say 50 teachers to get involved and to think differently about coding. But then I have to think about, okay, so that's what I'm thinking. That also leads to my impact. How many people am I going to touch? How many people are going to be a part of this? And think kids, think about what you're doing. For mine, it's kids, it's teachers, it's administrators, it's parents. So what is my overall impact in those numbers? And then evaluation. how am I going to know this is happening? Like, what am I going to do to say that I've worked with X number of people? So are you creating a pre-test, post-test? So are you going to, are you going to take attendance? Because if I'm just looking at number of students that are involved, I can take attendance and say I've reached my 300. But you also want to know to what degree you've reached those people. So is it a pre-test they take before you get started? Is it a post-test at the end so you can measure, what did they learn along the way? Is there a survey that they take in the beginning to say, maybe you're doing something where you're introducing a new skill set, or you're, giving services or planning services for kids, and you ask them, before, what would you like to see? What type of services would you like? So there's that pre-survey, and then after they start coming, did this meet your needs? And then what else would you like to see? So that way you can see from beginning to end what's happening. The other thing that's really important to this, and I'm going to shift over to the youth mindfulness one, because each one of these is so different. Really think about, go back to your goals. What do you hope to accomplish? And how do you know that you've accomplished it? So this is all that this is, but you want to make sure that your site or your partnership, whatever you're calling the place where you're doing your internship, you want to make sure that they're in this with you. So you want to make sure that they're a part of the first part of this evaluation piece. You want to make sure at the time that you go through it, they're working with you. And at the end, you want to make sure you present it to not only your team, because hopefully they're working with you, but if they're not, you want to present it back to them and say, what changes do you have? But you also want to get key stakeholders involved. Does that make sense? So as you look at this, I want to jump back just so we're on the same page. So as you look through, first, make sure you go through this area. Read, click here, read. Reading is important. It informs what you're trying to do. Look at the examples, see what they did. Make sure you write stuff in there. If you only fill up this area halfway, we're going to ding you on the points. Keep that in mind. All right, for your team meeting, we're going to ask you when you're going to host it, when, where, what happened. Then goals. List at least 5. What are your goals? Then go to impact. I want you to think about the impact piece. Brainstorm it out. Because I think if you involve more people, you're going to realize that there's more things than what you originally thought about. And then evaluation. Indicator 1, what's the source? How often are you going to measure this? What is the value? Think these through. Very important. You want to have at least 2. You may have more than that. I know for us, we're doing something with the students. We're doing something with the teachers. We're also going to do something with parents. So keep that in mind. All right, so that's your big assignment. At the end, again, you're going to meet with your stakeholders to talk through it and make sure you understand it. All right, next step. So after you go through this, here's your rubric, the template itself, a little bit more information on it, and then, again, full rubric. Next up, we have, drumroll please, yellow dig. So normal yellow dig, you're going to have a conversation. This is a great place to share some ideas. Think about how you're going to do the mentoring and evaluating. Talk through maybe with some of your colleagues what they're planning to do and how they're planning to do it. It's a good way to get some information on that. And then Patrick, what's next? What's the last thing? Can you remember? Do you know? Don't be shocked. It's your...
You got to do your timesheet, people. You got to do your timesheet. It's important that you reflect on the work that you've done and that you can communicate it so that way we can see all those great things that you are doing. We love hearing about the great things that you are doing out there. So please make sure that you communicate that using academic writing.
And again, we read these. We make comments back to you, and we're here to help you and support you. But some of you are like writing a sentence, and some of you, please wrap your text. It's very hard. If you don't wrap it, we can't see it. And then we have to open it, and then we have to read it in the small little line at the top. So just please hit that wrap button. If you don't know how to do it, let us know. We'll help you. But this is kind of my highlight of the week. I love looking at and reading what you guys are up to. Please, again, if we leave you feedback or questions, email us, put it in Slack. We don't go back to the assignment. Okay? If you have questions, we'd love to see you during office hours. Office hours are very important, so please come and visit us during office hour. We're going to send you multiple announcements about that, so please check so that way you know when we're there and how we can help you. Patrick.
Dr. J, do we know all of the people that our students are writing about? And do we know contextually all of the situations that they're writing out? Or would it be better if our students were able to expand a little bit deeper as if we don't know anything.
That would be awesome. The
Okay.
more detail, the better.
Yeah,
Don't
I
assume
was
that we
I was thinking
understand.
that.
Yep.
I was thinking, that would be really cool because I don't know any of these people. I don't know any of these situations or these places you work. The more detail, the better. And then I can look at it and go, oh my gosh, what an incredible experience this person must be having. It just paints a better picture for me in my mind. And I know it helps Dr. J, and it would just be very helpful.
Yes, I agree. So please, the more detail, the more you can outline, the better. And it's also helpful for your sites. Well, hopefully you've had an exciting time listening to our thoughts about Module 4. We will see you throughout this week. Please let us know if you have questions or comments. Patrick, anything else for the greater good?
Nothing. Thanks.
All right. Have a great one, guys. Ciao.